Buckle up, students. This is a particularly noisy chapter. I'm reading it before Justin and Sammy are awake, so I had to move into my bedroom. I'll probably still wake him up anyways. Here we go. Wish my voice luck. A Trogglehumper for the Fleshlumpeater. They is always having 50 winks before they go scumpering off to hunt human beings in the evening, the BFG said. He stopped for a few moments to let Sophie have a better look. Giants is only sleeping every then and now, he said. Not nearly as much as human beings. Human beings is crazy for sleeping. Is it ever occurring to you that a human being who is 50 is spending about 20 years sleeping fast? I must admit, that never occurred to me. You should allow it to occur to you. Imagine it, please. This human being who says he is 50 has been fast asleep for 20 years and does not knowing where he is, not even doing anything, not even thinking. It's a funny thought. Exactly. So what I is trying to explain to you is that a human being who says he is 50 is not 50. He is only 30. What about me? I am 8. You is not 8 at all, the BFG said. Human being babies and little childers is spending half their time sleeping, so you is only 4. I'm 8. You may think you is 8, but you have spent 4 years of your life with your little eyes open. You is only 4, and please stop higgling me. Titchy little snapper whippers like you should not be higgling about with an old sage and onions who is hundreds of years more than you. How much do giants sleep? They is never wasting much time snozzling. 2 or 3 hours is enough. When do you sleep? Even less, the BFG answered. I is sleeping only once in a blue baboon, once in a blue moon. Sophie, peeping out of her pocket, examined the 9 sleeping giants. They looked even more grotesque now than when they were awake. Sprawled out across the yellow plain, they covered an area about the size of a football field. Most of them were lying on their backs with their enormous mouths wide open, and they were snoring like foghorns. The noise was awful. Suddenly, the BFG gave a jump in the air. By gum frog, he cried. I is just having the most wopsy whiffling idea. What? Wait. Hold your horse feathers. Keep your skirt on. Just you wait to see what I is going to bring about. He galloped off fast to his cave with Sophie hanging on tight to the rim of the pocket. He rolled back the stone. He entered the cave. He was very excited. He was moving quickly. You stay where you is in my pocket, Huggy Bee. We is doing this lovely bit of bug swashling both together. Swashbuckling, bug swashling. Swashbuckling means like having adventures. We is doing this lovely bit of bug swashling both together. He laid aside the dream-catching net, but hung on to the suitcase. He ran across to the other side of the cave and grabbed the long trumpet thing, the one he had been carrying when Sophie had first seen him in the village. With the suitcase in one hand and the trumpet in the other, he dashed out of the cave. What is he up to now? Sophie wondered. Peep your head up good, the BFG said. Then you get a fine winkle of what is going on. When the BFG came near to the sleeping giants, he slowed his pace. He began, moving slowly. He crept on his toes towards the ugly brutes. They were still snoring loudly. They looked repulsive, filthy, diabolical. The BFG tiptoed around them. He went past the gizzard gulper, the blood bottler, the meat dripper, the chow chewer. Then he stopped. He had reached the Fleshlumpeater. He pointed at him. Then he looked down at Sophie and gave her a big wink. He knelt on the ground and very quietly he opened the suitcase. He took out the glass jar containing the terrible nightmarish Trogglehumper. At that point, Sophie guessed what was going to happen next. Ouch! She thought. This could be rather dangerous. She crouched lower in the pocket, so only the top of her head and her eyes were showing. She wanted to be ready to duck out of sight very fast should anything go wrong. They were about 10 feet away from the Fleshlumpeater's face. The snoring noise he was making was disgusting. Every now and again, a big bubble of spit formed between his 2 open lips, and then it would burst with a splash, covering his face with saliva. Taking infinite care, the BFG unscrewed the top of the glass lid and tipped the squiggling, squirming, faintly scarlet Trogglehumper into the wide end of his long trumpet. He put the other end of the trumpet to his lips. He aimed the instrument directly at the Fleshlumpeater's face. He took a deep breath, puffed out his cheeks, and then woof, he blew. Woof. Sophie saw a flush of pale red go darting towards the giant's face. For a split second, it hovered above the face. Then it was gone. It seemed to have been sucked up the giant's nose. But it had all happened so quickly, Sophie couldn't be sure. "We'd better be skittling away quick. We're at the safe," the BFG whispered. He trotted off for about 100 yards, then he stopped. He crouched low to the earth. "Now," he said, "we is waiting for the gun and flames to begin." Fun and games, gun and flames. Oh, but that's better. They didn't have long to wait. There. Suddenly pierced by the most fearful roar Sophie had ever heard, and she saw the Fleshlumpeater's body, all 54 feet of it, rise up off the ground and fall back again with a thump. Then it began to wriggle and twist about and bounce in the most violent fashion. It was quite frightening to watch. "Yow!" roared the Fleshlumpeater. "Aye! Ah!" "He's still asleep," the BFG whispered. "The terrible Troggle-humping nightmare is beginning to hit him." "Serves him right," Sophie said. She could feel no sympathy for this great brute who ate children as though they were sugar lumps. "Save us!" screamed the Fleshlumpeater, thrashing about mildly. "He is after me! He is getting me!" The thrashing of limbs and waving of arms became more violent by the second. It was an awesome thing to watch. Such a massive creature having such mighty convulsions. "It's Jack!" bellowed the Fleshlumpeater. "It's the grueful, gruntious Jack! Jack is after me! Jack is whack-crockling me! Jack is spike-sticking me! Jack is splash-splunking me! It is the terrible, fright-swiping Jack!" Jack and the Beanstalk kids. The Fleshlumpeater was writhing about over the ground like some colossal, tortured snake. "Oh, spare me, Jack! Don't hurt me, Jack!" "Who is this Jack he's on about?" Sophie whispered. "Jack is the only human being all giants is frightened of. They is absolutely terrified of Jack. They is all hearing that Jack is a famous giant killer." "Save me!" screamed the Fleshlumpeater. "Have mercy on this poor little giant! The Beanstalk! He's coming at me with this terrible spike-sticking Beanstalk! Take it away! I was begging you, Jack! I was praying you not to touch me with your terrible spike-sticking Beanstalk!" "Us giants," the BFG whispered, "is not knowing very much about this dreaded human being called Jack. We is knowing only that he is a famous giant killer and that he is owning something called a beanstalk. We is also knowing that the beanstalk is a fearsome thing and Jack is using it to kill giants." Sophie couldn't stop smiling. "What is you giggling about?" the BFG asked her, slightly nettled. "I'll tell you later," Sophie said. The awful nightmare had now gripped the great brute to such an extent that he was tying his whole body into knots. "Do not do it, Jack! I is not eating you, Jack. I is never eating human beings. I swear I has never gobbled a human being in all my wholesome life." "Liar," said the BFG. Just then, one of the